Hey, welcome to video number 112 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things.
BNI and networking.
I am Mark Simmons. Hazel Walker, you want to know how I am? Ask me. Mark, how are you?
Mark, how are you? Because we're at the end of the year. It's been a hard year, and you have really worked hard this year. How are you?
Thank you. I have worked hard, and I'm feeling really good about some things, but disappointed about a couple other things. Frustrated, I would say. And my frustration is because, as you know, I've booked a lot of one-to-ones.
Well, I know.
A lot of one-to-ones.
You've been doing 10, 12, 15, and 20 a week.
I have. And actually, it's pushing in the last few weeks, 50 one-to-ones I've had with members. And here's the thing, some of them, not a lot, but there are a few of them. I got to the office early. I got into the meeting. I opened up the Zoom. And it's like, okay, meet you at 7 a.m., comes and goes. And I wait till 7:15, and they no show without any message for the one-to-one. They just no show. Yeah.
They leave you sitting there early in the morning.
Right. And then even when I send an email after saying, hey, we had a meeting, what happened? Are you okay? You know, that you no showed, not even a response to that. And they're the ones who booked the meeting.
Okay, so would you, I'm sure you would believe that actually happens face-to-face also.
Oh, yeah. When we were face-to-face, I absolutely experienced that too.
Yeah, and I've heard that complaint. I actually hear that complaint a lot from our new members. Mm-hmm. And I hear the complaint from our new members is no one ever asks them for a one-to-one. They have to ask everybody.
Right.
So thank God it's on Zoom, because at least you can do other things while you're waiting, right? And hoping they show up and
True.
giving them the benefit of the doubt. So the first thing I'm going to say about it in this time while we're in COVID and all this chaos, first, let's give a little grace. Maybe they're sick. Maybe something's happened. And so that's why you haven't gotten responses or didn't hear from them in advance that they were canceling. I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I don't know what's going on in everybody's life. And it is frustrating. I know it's frustrating because it's been happening to me too on occasion. But here's the real problem. It happens too frequently. And it happens too frequently without a phone call, without an alert that they're not going to show up, without an apology afterwards, a mea culpa. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they understand the credibility that they lose. Because the first thing I think after that, if I don't hear from them at all, and then I finally reach out to them and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't make it there. Well, I just think, well, sorry, I'm never going to refer you. Because I don't know, maybe you would do that to my client that I would refer you to.
Right, that's the thought I have.
Yeah, I'm sure that was like, yeah. Would you do that to your own prospects who said, yeah, I want to buy from you, Mark. All you got to do is show up at my house at 4 o'clock tomorrow night, and you don't show up. Do you think I'm going to chase you down and still buy from you? Not going to happen. So if you can't show up, you need to give people a heads up, because what that really says is my time is valuable. I don't care about your time.
Right.
Right. My time is, assuming there's nothing tragic has happened, then what it's really saying is my time is more valuable than your time, and I don't care about your time.
Yeah. And that's why my message to them was, just want to make sure you're okay. Let me know.
Right. That's the first thing we should always do. Make sure you're okay. Let me know if you're okay. But then to get zero response from that too.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point, because the question you ask is, would you do this to your client? The answer is always no. But the reality is, your biggest client that you have is BNI. Mm-hmm. It's perspective a little bit. Yeah, but the reality is, your biggest client is BNI. And if you're not showing up for your biggest client, then your biggest client is thinking, oh, well, then you're not going to show up for the referrals I give you.
Right. And you know how often when I'm doing a one-to-one with someone, I think of connections and opportunities. because I'm sitting in a one-on-one, I'm having a discussion, I'm learning more about you. But when you don't show up, you've lost all of that. And not only have you lost all of that, I'm not chasing you down to rebook the one-to-one.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it.
That's kind of how I feel. If they've reached out, now let me preface this. If someone has reached out and said, "Hey, Mark, I got to cancel the one-to-one. These are the reasons," that's a totally different animal. That's legit. We're strictly talking about just not showing up, and then no communication after.
And recently, I've moved from my condo upstairs to a rental condo downstairs, so I have no real internet. I'm using my cell phone. And there's been a couple times I just haven't been able to get online, and I've not been able to make our one-to-one. And I've had to apologize for that. And I've had to send a text message and go, "I'm so sorry. Please let me make it up to you." That's what I expect people to do.
Yeah.
And if you're treating your BNI members and the director team with so little respect that you A, don't show up, and B, you don't alert them because it was on Zoom anyway, who cares? It's disrespectful.
Yeah. Now I get, like, my 16-year-old daughter, she ghosts me sometimes. Well, she ghosts me a lot. My daughters do on text. It's kind of expected because people go, "Well, she's 16. Of course she's going to." And as respectful or disrespectful as you might think it is, there's some truth to, I expect it. But when I'm working with people in business, I don't have that expectation that I'm going to be ghosted.
Correct. We expect a lot more. And we especially expect a lot more from our BNI members because of our code of ethics and our core values.
Yeah.
And we assume that because you're a member of the organization, you understand those code of ethics and those core values also.
Yeah. So one of the things you've always said is, just reminded me, and you have a lot of stories about it, but it's about rule breaking. And you can break any rule you want. Break any rule you want. It's okay. You can choose to break any rule you want, but what you don't get to choose are the consequences.
Right.
So if you want to know how much of an impact you're going to have on yourself, know what the consequences are first, and then you can choose whether the rule is worth breaking or not. And in our case, it's your credibility.
It's your credibility. It is your credibility.
That's at stake. Yeah.
And the other thing is, word of mouth marketing is always working. There's no turn off.
Yeah.
It's always working. It may not be working in your favor. And if you're not showing up for meetings and you're not bothering to call people, there's word of mouth working on your behalf.
Yeah, and it reminds me of there was a makeup commercial. I don't remember the company, but part of their line was, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and so on. And you see it multiplying, and every time it's doubling. I mean, that's the ripple effect.
Word of mouth marketing is word of mouth is always working.
Always working. All right. So, there's no point in beating the horse or whatever the expression is.
So feel better about it. It happened.
Yeah.
You sent a nice note, checked in on them. Hopefully you'll hear from them and they're okay.
Yeah, I hope to hear from them too.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. So members, I guess where we're pointing is this: check in with yourselves, check in how you're showing up, and show up. And this is really just, in the end, about communication.
And respect.
And respect. So communicate. If you need to talk to people about it, talk to chapter members about it, they'll help you out. But all we ask from each other is be respectful, communicate with us when you can't show, but please don't not show.
Make it your goal for 2021 to show up.
Yeah. And that expression, show up, can be applied to so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, members, 2021, we show up. Till next time.